Mr. Gary Brown, what's up, brother?
What's happening, boss?
What's going on?
Not much, man. How you doing?
Good, good. We're good.
I appreciate that. Thank you for having me. You look good too, man.
Thank you.
Staying busy?
A little bit.
That's what you
Just
do,
a little
man.
bit. All the news that's coming out is freaking crazy. Like
I
always.
kind of heard a little bit about it, man.
Yeah.
You know, it's an evolving wheel. It keeps going and going.
Keeps the business, keeps us sharp. Keeps us on our toes. It keeps us moving and, and grooving, I guess, right?
It's kind of like a simulator of life, man. Things happen and there's changes that happen. You either roll with it or get rolled over.
That's right. And I still want to see, like, if we played in the NFL together, I think I would roll right over you. Is that unfamiliar?
Absolutely not. We can see right now. We can move the table. Okay. I got one good play in me left. I might need a doctor after, but I got one good play.
That'll be driven. So let's start from the beginning with you, because I think you have one of the most interesting stories out there, and I think you're one of the coolest people I ever met. I think you're one of the sweetest guys. I think it's like everything else. You got this big frame, and everybody looks at you as like, oh my God, and they don't realize what's inside, And the first day I met you, always treated me as a great friend, and I always appreciated that about you. And I just want to talk about you. Like, how'd you get that? Where'd you grow up?
Well, first of all, I appreciate that, and it goes both ways. They have that saying, "Game recognized game," and it's really just about respect factor. You gave it to me, and I give it back, and that's what life is about. That's what sports is about. That's you played. The things you've done in your life. It's always been about teamwork. Whether it's the force, whether it's hockey, even today in business, it's about the team you build around you. And when you learn to accept your role, and no matter what it may be as a part of that team, whether it's a backup, whether it's a starter, whether it's a coach, whether it's a garbage man, whether it's a trainer, you play your part to the best of your ability. And in this game called life, I just try and play it to the best of my ability. I grew up right down the block from here in Brentwood. I'm a local kid, and I make sure I say that all the time, even when I did interviews overseas and when I played in Europe, and even at the Super Bowl. At the Super Bowl Media Day, there's thousands of reporters on the field that ask you all kinds of questions, and you got Chinese people coming up to me asking me questions about, oh, you're from New York, and I correct them right away. No, I'm from Brentwood, New York, because it's very important to me, my family, my friends, that I represent where I come from.
That's awesome.
And it's for a reason, because there's kids that, when I grew up in that era, I didn't dream about playing professional sports. It was either a rapper or, hanging out in the streets doing up to no good. And, just giving kids something that they can aspire to, just saying, look, this is where I come from. I sat where you sat. I was a student in that classroom. You could be whatever you want to be, and I could stand by that, and it's tangible, and it's something they can reach out and touch. I think that means something.
It does. It means a lot. But how did you do it? Like, so you grew up in Brentwood, and where'd you go to school?
Brentwood High School, and then I went to Nassau Community College because I didn't have the grades to get into a better college or the talent, to be honest with you.
Were you playing at this time? Did you play with Brentwood High School?
I played with Brentwood High School. I didn't start until my senior year. It's funny because I didn't really develop until my first and second year of junior college. So even if I would have gotten a scholarship out of high school, it would have been to a decent Division III or a bad Division II. And then I elected to go to Nassau Community College to try my luck. And there, I like to say I went in as a boy and came out as a man.
So that's great. That's club level, or is that D3?
It's junior college level. So we played other junior colleges.
So, but that would be considered like club, I'm assuming. Right?
JC. No. We had.
Oh, it's a real.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's national championships and everything.
Oh, really?
Actually, Nassau Community College is one of the best schools in the country, and we're the only school that's ranked that high that doesn't have dorms. You know what I mean? So like Montgomery and Georgia and Maryland, all of those schools have dorms and scholarships, and we don't. You know what I mean? It was so.
How did you play against the Texas teams and the Miami?
Yeah.
And all that?
Well, we played against their junior colleges.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah. But the beautiful thing about Nassau was we made our living, and the school, we were so good for so long because every kid in the tri-state area, to Jersey, up to Buffalo, to even Maryland, like all the good kids that didn't have the grades to go to Division I went look for a junior college to go to, and Nassau was one of the best. And you know, we're talking about back in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, there was a lot of boundaries that you had to check off to be able to get a Division I scholarship.
Oh, wow.
Like they didn't. A
Wasn't like
Division
today.
I school wouldn't give a kid from a broken home or a kid that had a juvenile record for stealing a piece of candy, wouldn't give him a scholarship. They would disqualify them.
Wow.
You know what I mean? That's back then. Now the
Calm
game
down a
has
lot.
changed so different. You know what I mean? Because you did something stupid at 14 doesn't mean that, you know, you're not a good person and you're not a good athlete and you can't help our program.
I want to get into that later because I want to ask you the comparisons of that because you just hit on something like today compared to yesterday, like the difference in it. What do you think is better in some way?
I think they're both better, and you know they both have their pluses and their negatives because today's world, you can have an NIL deal and you can pave your own way in the classroom, on the football field, and start your after college life while you're in college. Where back in my day, it wasn't. It was scholarship. You're not allowed to work. You're not allowed to make any money. So, if you went there broke, you stayed
broke.
there broke.
Oh,
You know what I
unless you-
mean?
yeah.
While other kids that were there financially set are driving around in this car, going out, doing this and that, dressing like, and as somebody that didn't come from money, you're sitting there, trying to stretch your
Working in the
allowance.
cafeteria or whatever it is.
You're
to
not
make
even
money.
when you're on a full scholarship.
You
You're
can't
not
even
allowed
work.
to work.
That's right. You're not even
It
allowed
was
to work.
illegal then.
That's
so
right.
you couldn't even, and you couldn't even take $1 from alumni.
That's right.
They couldn't even help you out. So it's kind of, it goes both ways. But I think it gives them more independence today. But I think back then, you had to be structured and disciplined to even accept a scholarship and play the sport at that level.
Wow.
So it's, pluses and minuses.
Yeah, I
Plus,
guess-
the game is totally different today.
Oh, totally different game.
Yeah. They're not tough as we were.
We're going to get into that. 'Cause I want to tell some of those stories. Those are great. And I'm sure you told them 1,000 times, millions of times. But so your national community, did you guys win? Or
Yeah, we were really good. We went to. I actually was the captain of the team.
you were
It's
playing?
so
You were an
funny.
offensive lineman, left tackle, or
So let's get to that. I started out. Everybody wants to play a famous
Quarterback,
position.
you
You know what I
receiver,
mean?
yeah.
Like you want a position that you could say, "Hey, world, look at me." So I tried out as a defensive lineman.
oh, really?
And because I played offense and defense in high school, because you go both ways, and then at Nassau I tried out for defense because I want to be able to make a sack and be like, "Look what I did! Look what I did!" And I literally got cut. I didn't make the team.
Wow.
And so back then there was a made it list and a cut list, and when I went to
How
read the
humbling
list,
is that,
I
right?
wasn't on either one. So I was like, "Damn, I must have got cut." All the D linemen came from out of town. They were hoo-ha's. And then the coach saw me a couple of days later. He's like, "Brown, where you been?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "I didn't make the team." He was like, "Yeah, but I didn't cut you either." And I'm like, "What does that mean?" He was like, "That means you're supposed to talk to me." I was like, "Well, I didn't see that note underneath the."
Come talk to the coach.
So he was like, "You know what? You're not going to make it as a defensive lineman on this roster. We're set with that. But the offensive line coach sees something in you, and he wants to know if you would like to play for the offensive line." And I said, "What does that mean?" He goes, "If you want to play offensive line, you made the team. If you don't, then you're cut." I said, "I'll play."
I guess I'm playing a line.
You know what I mean? I'm like, cool. And then once I started playing, it was just a matter of changing your mindset. And we could talk about that later too, because that converts to everything in life. And it's about how you approach something, how you view it, not how other people view you. So I started playing offensive line, and when they told me that offensive line was the fastest way to get a Division I scholarship, I approached it with a different mentality. And instead of me being the guy that takes the beating from the defensive line or the linebackers as being a cushion of absorbing the pain for the quarterback, I started attacking people. I'm like, you know what? Screw this. You're going to hit me, I'm going to hit you right back. I'm from Brentwood, you know what I mean? And that's the way I approached it. Like, I started keeping my personal stats. I knocked this guy down 3 times today. I knocked this guy down once today. I got knocked down twice today.
Sure.
And I just started developing a controlled violence, a controlled aggressiveness. Like, you weren't going to come on my side of the line and push me around. And that just became my mentality. And once I started doing that, watch out, everybody was fair game.
Because
if you were gonna sit there and try and bully me, you better know how to handle the bully. You know, and that's
awesome.
that's really.
So, played National Community. I'm thinking 2 years.
I actually played 3. I redshirted
3
my
years.
first year. Like
Okay.
I told you, I went there as a boy.
Came out of man.
I couldn't even lift weights. You know, our initial test, you know, you do the weightlifting, the jumping, the running test. They put 225 pounds on the bench, and I got underneath it, and I lifted it once, and it went down on my chest, and I couldn't get it off. And
Wow.
the coach said, "Get off of my bench. I'm giving you 3 because no offensive lineman has ever did under 3." I was like, "All right, thank you."
Wow.
But that made me know I had to
How
get
big
new-
were you at that time?
I graduated high school at probably 6'2", 260. Yeah, and then but I left Nassau 3 years later at 6'4.5", 290, 300.
Oh my God.
But I put on all muscle, and I was working out, and I was not eating that much because I was traveling back and forth to school, eating Roy Rogers chicken that was on campus. You know what I mean? Like it's like little. It's funny how little things play into your life. You know.
So crazy.
And then we lifted weights in a room like the size of this, a whole team. So when I got from there, I went to Georgia Tech. I was junior college All-American, which led me a scholarship to go anywhere I wanted to go. I actually was going to go to Clemson, but I had an incident there.
Okay.
I went there. It's a dry town. So we were driving out of town to go hang out. Stopped on the side of the road to go to the bathroom. I fell down a cliff, chipped my tooth. Had to be brought back had to be taken to the hospital. I'm like, what the hell? Long story short, I said, I can't be the butt of everybody's jokes going to Clemson. So I went to Georgia Tech, which is a big win this week.
right.
Last week, Georgia Tech beat Clemson, which
That's
was
right. There you go.
major. So
What year was it? What year was this in Georgia Tech?
I was at Georgia Tech from 92 to 94.
92.
I played 2 years, and then I was drafted to the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Okay, so Georgia Tech, how'd you guys do?
We sucked.
There you go.
And it was weird because they were just coming off a national championship
That's
before I
what
got
thought,
there. And
Because they won in 91 or 90?
yeah, 91.
91, okay.
And I got there in 92. So they're fresh off a national championship.
A lot of arrogance and cockiness. Anybody from that team left?
It
or no?
was a good talent there, and it was crazy because all of these people there.
Not to knock your teammates.
No,
I'm
but there
trying
was like a bunch of guys there that were like, you know, preseason All-American, you know, USA All-Americans and the best kid in the nation, this and that. But their work ethic, like I came from Nassau. I came from Brentwood to Nassau where there were a bunch of hungry wolves. Like everybody was getting that. Our practices, bro, at Nassau, we fought each other. It was just that competitive, you know? And then going there to see, I don't want to say the lackadaisicalness, but like the competition wasn't there in practice. Like, you know what I mean? Like we weren't going after each other's throat. And that's where you make each other better. You know what I mean?
without
And
doubt,
that's how you practice is gonna be how you play. There's guys that were like, I'm good, I don't have to practice.
Really?
Yeah, well, you're gonna suck on the game day. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Because you can always get better. So long story short,
Is that because most of the guys, all the senior guys that played and won, got drafted or finished school?
well, some of them did. You know, like you know, there was guys that left, Ken Swilling and Willie Clay and Marco Coleman. All those guys played in the NFL. You know what I mean? And that's good. You know, which set the platform that you're gonna get looked at if you
Without
play
doubt.
well. And there's some guys that just took that for granted, you know.
So interesting.
There's a lot that happened there. Bobby Ross, which is the head coach of the national championship team, who recruited me. When I got there, he got his first gig in the NFL with the Detroit Lions.
Interesting.
So then Bill Lewis came in from East Carolina, which is a smaller school. They had a fluke record. They had like 5 years of losing records. Then they went like 10-1 or something like that. So then he came to Georgia Tech and kind of ruined the program. I don't want to blame him.
Of course not.
But his change, the team wasn't adapting to. So it was a lot of conflict, a lot of bickering, a lot of things taken away from the sport, and which led to us having a losing season. Actually, he lost every year he was there. He was there for like 3 or 4 years. Ironically, it was my years, but he lost, and I was a part of that team. But I still had that dog in me. Like, you know what? We may be losing, but I'm going to win my battle. It's not going to be because of me that we're losing. And that's the mentality I took. And
Worked out for you. Did you get drafted? Or?
I did get drafted. I got myself drafted because the scouts were coming. Before my season ended, my last senior year ended, I hurt my knee. So I didn't play like the last 4 or 5 games. And then I had the opportunity to come back and play the last game. The last game I played was against a guy named Mitch Davis, and he was at Georgia.
Okay.
He actually needed a half a sack to break the school record or college record or something. And I'm going against this guy. And they're like, Gary, you sure you want to play? I'm like, challenge accepted. Either he's going to get it or he's not going to get it. But I beat up on him pretty good.
Good.
And then
Did he get it?
No, he didn't get it.
Good. Fuck him.
That's right. He's on the other team. Like, I wish you well, but not today.
Yeah.
So during tryouts for the NFL, they send the scouts down and they get a roster of like 10 people they want to work out. I wasn't one of them.
Interesting.
And so I just had my agent letting me know every time scouts were coming on campus.
You're gonna work out.
So if they were running a 40-yard dash on this side of the field, I was over here running a 40-yard dash.
Awesome.
When they went in the weight room, I went in the weight room. After my second or third time, they were like, I see these guys here, but who's that over there? And they were like, oh, Gary, he had a knee injury. This is senior year. Oh, he looks pretty good. Let me run him. Let me time him. Next thing you know, I'm in the roster. I'm in the mix. So I went from a guy not even being looked at to the first one drafted from Georgia Tech.
First round?
No, first one.
Oh, first
drafted.
round. Okay.
I was drafted in the 5th round. Dorsey Levens was drafted right after me.
Oh, I thought Dorsey was a third-round pick, but he's not.
No, Dorsey got drafted right after me. And then what's ironic is Pittsburgh picked and then Green Bay's pick. So Pittsburgh picked me and then Green Bay picked Dorsey. And while I was at Pittsburgh, I was going to be put on the practice squad, got to clear waivers for a day. Long story short, I didn't clear. Green Bay claimed me off of waivers.
It's so interesting.
So then
right?
me and Dorsey were playing again together. Now
Did you
I'm
know?
blocking for him. Yeah, we played at Georgia Tech
That's
together.
what I mean. So you knew well with him, and you blocked for him in the past.
We were actually neighbors. I lived here. He lived across the street.
That's
and it
awesome.
was pretty cool just to have a friend, somebody to go through this with, a college buddy. And we won a Super Bowl together, which is pretty ironic.
So take me to, you get drafted, you're in Pitt. You told me some great stories.
Pittsburgh was
What's that like?
It was, every time, because you play sports, every time you up a level, the talent all around just gets better, which automatically makes you better.
Correct.
Practicing, playing against better talent. If I could have played against professional talent and then went back to college, I would have dominated. You know what I mean? Just because of the tricks of the trade. But I got there. I went from Georgia Tech to having to practice against Greg Lloyd and Kevin Green.
What is that like? And I know you told me stories.
These guys are animals. They're like Pro Bowlers. They're Hall of Famers, and just to be in a company with them was kind of like, it was like eye-opening. And then to have them embrace you and be like, all right, rookie, I hope you're here to work because we're not going to take it easy on you. It's like, all right, you got a little fear in me, but I'm going to give it my all. What's the worst that could happen?
Who was harder? And I know this is a silly question because they both make the Hall of Fame, or
I believe so. Yeah, they both in the Hall of Fame.
they did, right?
Yeah.
So who's tougher to go up against, Greg or
Greg Lloyd was tougher to go up against just because there was
also
more
jiu-jitsu
assets.
too, right?
Yo, man, his hand-eye coordination and smacking you across the head and moving your hands and his speed, and then top it off with his strength and his agility was great. And Kevin Green, take nothing away from him, but he was more of a tough, hard-nosed, I'm not going to run around you, I'm going to run through you kind of guy. So he's going to bully you, he's going to push you down and then shed you. Greg Lloyd, you had to be more on your feet because he could either run through you or he could run around you or he could run underneath you. So it was just a different
Bigger
game.
Kevin was bigger than Greg, right?
Kevin was probably weighed more, but I think Greg Lloyd was a specimen. Like, being in the locker room with these guys, just like, yo, dude, you got like no body fat on you. Like, what the hell is this? Like, but then he's the guy doing yoga and Tai Chi and all of this stuff for an hour before practice, and then an hour after practice. Like, he's a specimen.
So,
you know what I mean?
Pittsburgh locker room, what's that like? Like, is it?
It was a time of turmoil. Don't get me wrong.
That year
Bill Cowher was a great, he opened my eyes to what a player's coach really was, because I never had one. I had one at Nassau, but I didn't respect it at Nassau until I had a bad coach at Georgia Tech.
So Mr. Cowher was
the coach.
Player, I know, but he was a player's coach? Or?
Yeah, he's not, you got coaches that's going to sit back,
not like a Tom
eating
Coughlin.
an ice cream cone telling you, hey, you got to work harder. But then you got other coaches that's going to be out there, you let me beat you out here to practice again? Come on, I already ran 20 sprints, and I'm the coach, and I'm not even playing. So he's the kind of guy that leads by example, which gives him more credibility because
Sure.
he's willing to go through it and do it. So there's no reason why you shouldn't be doing more to make him happy. You know what I mean? As to a coach that's just sitting back telling you what to do. Nothing against that coach,
course,
because his mind is his weapon. But Bill Cowher was, I'm going to get everything out of you by giving you examples and showing you how you're supposed to work, which I respected more.
That's interesting. And
Yeah.
then, why do you think Bill never came back? Because I know his whole wife story and all of that. God rest
Well,
his soul.
I think it's a lot of pressure, man, and it's a lot of on the road. Coaches have a hard job, and I learned this through Andy Reid, because I knew Andy in Green Bay before he went to Philly, before he was Kansas City. He won a Super Bowl with us in Green
Right,
Bay,
yeah.
and he was a tight end coach.
Oh, that's where he was? Okay,
yeah.
I thought he was an offensive coordinator or something like
No,
that.
he was just a tight end coach. They had cut 3 players, and and I got to know him because I was a tackle, so I had to coordinate with the
those
tight
guys.
ends. So I got to know Andy and the kind of great man that he is. But when you start coaching at that high level, you sacrifice your family. You know what I mean? Like probably all head coaches have a bedroom in their office, because when you're done working at 1 o'clock in the morning and you got to be back at 4 or 5 in the morning, it doesn't make sense to get in the car and drive 30 minutes, 40 minutes home to try and get some sleep to come back. So you'll sleep in the office days at a time and be there up, and
And then your sleep is thinking about football when you're sleeping.
and
too.
you wake up thinking about football and this, that. Hey, babe, how's the kids? All right, I got to go. Going to the meeting. You know what I mean? Like, and that kind of sucks, but Andy sacrificed. He's a great father, but his family took a hit for it. And you could tell by his story with his son, and, they had some problems in the family and stuff, which, take nothing away from Andy. He's a great man. Like, and I know him personally.
Yeah.
And just, what he's been through, he deserves everything that he's getting, because he works hard and he demands that, and he does it from a loving place. He's not a hard-nosed, he's not a jerk. He just took a running back that they got rid of because of controversy off the field, and he was like, you learn your lesson? Everybody makes a mistake, but if you make it twice, that's it.
Done.
You know what I mean? And so he believes in second chances. He's human, and he knows what it's like to get the best out of somebody, and that's what I take my hat off for him for.
Wow. So I saw something interesting. I forgot who it was that was talking about it. It was with the Giants, and then I think he went to Jacksonville and then went back to another big market team. But he was talking about locker rooms, and he said, it's interesting, when he started with the Giants, I forgot who it was, I'm sorry, but he said, and I want to know if this is true or not, he started with the Giants, and he said the Giants locker room was very organized, very respected. You had to wear the same T-shirt. Everybody had to wear the same T-shirt under their jerseys. You had to wear, the same socks, the same of this. He said, there was no music played in practice. It was just, strict, be on times. If you were 5 minutes late, you got a fine, and, you expected that. So, start time is 7:30. It's really 7:25. If you don't show up until 7:30, nothing is said. There's just an envelope waiting for you to get the fine or whatever it is. And he said then when he went to Jacksonville, he said it was totally different. Music's playing, guys are dancing, hanging out. And he said, but you can see the difference in the way it works, because the Giants obviously won 2 Super Bowls, and with Jacksonville, they weren't all that. Then he went back to, I think, to Chicago he went to after that, and he was talking about how that disciplinary was, the same as the Giants and the way it is. Is that true? Like, is the locker rooms different?
There is a sense of that, and it's usually veteran. It's on
Leadership,
your
right?
leadership. I can tell you from my experiences with Pittsburgh, you have people like Greg Lloyd and Kevin Green running the locker room, and they're there early. You should be there early.
Okay.
And yes, back then, so in college, when you're late, you run a lap. When you screw up in class, you run a lap. You do up to, like, that's your trouble. That's your penalty for screwing up. In the NFL, it's a business now. Anything that happens, it's a fine. Whether you're late, whether you do something stupid, everything's out of your paycheck. So, but discipline is everything. I actually attempted to coach at my high school, and I couldn't do it because the coach is sitting there trying to run a triple option and
high school
teach these guys how to do this stuff and throw bombs. And I'm like, God, they don't even know how to stretch. They don't even know how to line up, and the offensive line don't know how to get into a stance. You're speeding past. You're jumping all the hurdles to do this when you got to have the basics. And that's where discipline comes in, because when you train it, when you drill it, when you coming out and being in cadence with jumping jacks and doing, it's not about the exercise. It's about the team being together and building as a bond. And all of those things mean something. When you have everybody in the locker room showing up 15 minutes early and you're in there talking football before the meeting even starts, that's growth. You know, if you have one bad apple, and I always go back to people like Terrell Owens or Ocho Cinco and these guys, do you realize they are out of the league and they could still play to this day? They could probably go on any team at 50 years old and make a presence. And when they were done playing, they could have went on any team and started and been the key receiver. And the only reason they weren't on the team is because of their discipline. Wow. It's because of their mouth. Nothing to do with their talent. They would have made any team instantly better upon signing their name. And they didn't play anymore because of their mouth or their off-the-field antics. And what that means is that, so you got a team, and every day we're going into the office to talk football and our opponent. If you do something stupid at the club or on social media or whatever, and the next morning we're talking about what you did and it's dividing the locker room, oh, I agree with him, or I disagree with him, or I don't care what, it's taken away from what our purpose in our office is.
Right, nobody's on the same page.
No, we're not on the same page, and not only that, we're talking about you instead of talking about our opponent. That's selfish. That's not a team player.
It's interesting.
Does it mean that you're not a great player? Absolutely not. But whether you want to or you don't want to, you're separating the team.
A lot of people don't understand that.
They don't. You got to play your part. You got to be able to play your part. And even down to the practice guys. Like I started as my first year in the league, I was a special teams. I did kickoff returns and field goals.
Wow.
And I took pride in that. Like I had to dress with, like I'm playing the game with no clothes on, like, half shirt, no sleeves, and it's 0 degrees out there.
Wow.
But I sacrificed that to be ready for my team. Because when I go in there, I'm not going to be the weak link.
Can't be, yeah.
This weekend alone, there was like 9 blocked field goals.
See that this weekend?
Have you ever seen that in your life? Like
2 will run back for the to win the game. That's crazy.
That's asinine. Like that's discipline.
That's right.
That's discipline. There's nothing else in that. Your job is to block the guy in front of you. That's it. And that's because you're sitting there talking about what you're doing after the club. I mean, after the game, whose house you're hanging out at.
This person that stands. Or
you may think it means nothing, but it means everything. The little details.
Wow. All right, so that's awesome. Thanks for sharing that. Because, again, that ties so much into business, too, and what we do today.
Into life. I think every kid should play a solo sport, whether it's tennis, golf, something that you do, you're the best version of yourself. And every kid should play a team sport. Because now it's not about you. It's about being the best version that the team needs you to be.
For everybody else, yeah.
And if you can do those two things and convert that into life and business and your family and things like that, it'll make you a much better person.
It's sad. So, making a better person, we go to Green Bay. Get cut, not cut. You get put on waivers. You're going to play on the practice squad. Silly question. On the practice squad, you still get, if you guys make the playoffs, you still get playoff money, right? You guys still get.
I don't even know what the rules are now. Back then, you probably would have been moved up from the practice squad by the time you made it to the Super Bowl, because now you got to travel with the team and practice at the Super Bowl. So they'll probably move you up. But so the reason you're getting cut is contracts.
Yep.
There'll be 24 hours in between.
That's right.
So, or a day in between, whatever it was. So you would I signed for my contract coming out of college, but then now I'm being put on a practice squad, so it's reduced money. I really work Tuesday through Thursday, Friday, and then I'm off Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
And then back to Tuesday.
And then, cause now I'm just studying film to get the team ready for the game. And to be put on so they had to waive me, but when they waive you, anybody could claim you. And Green Bay was there to
and you have to go.
You have to go. They were like, Gary, come to the office. Bring your playbook. Oh, shit, I'm getting cut. I don't know. Can you curse?
Yeah, of course. Don't worry about it. It's okay.
So I brought my playbook, and they were like, roll up. You know, you're leaving in the morning to go to Green Bay. I'm like, well,
So yeah, take
I'm
me
from
to that.
New York. Where's Green Bay?
Right? Yeah, see,
I'm like, I heard of it, but I don't know where it is. Like,
and the only reason you heard of it
I'm a
because
kid
football.
from Long Island.
That's
You
right.
know what I mean? And then the furthest away I've been from home was Atlanta. And now you're telling me Green Bay? I'm like, what the hell is Green Bay? So that was a weird pill to swallow, like getting one of those propeller planes, and because they don't have, at the time you couldn't even get a big plane there.
How did it even stand up with you on a plane like that? I've been on those
because
planes. Oh my
being
God.
a big guy, they
They're
were
so
like,
small. Yeah.
excuse me, sir, can you move to the other side of the plane to level it out? I'm like, are you kidding me?
It's insane.
The
right?
same lady that gives me a Coca-Cola is the same lady that's jumping in the pilot seat to fly the plane. I'm like, whoa. I didn't
crazy,
sign
right?
up for this. So then I was driving from Green Bay to Chicago whenever I had to take a flight. I'm like, I'm not getting back in that plane.
Screw
It's
that.
like, I'm like, whoa.
You got to stop moving with
This is too much weight to be this precious cargo, man.
So
I'm not getting in
precious,
there.
very precious.
Yeah, man.
So you end up going to Green Bay.
I go to Green Bay.
One of the funniest stories you ever told me and I ever heard was with you and Reggie.
Reggie,
Can you take us through that before we get into a little bit of business?
Late great Reggie White, man. We talked about locker rooms and we talked about precedents and what they expect from you. So it was guys like him who was, the preacher, the reverend, and then you had guys like Wayne Simmons who also passed away, who was like the dancer, the party animal, but nobody's gonna outwork him. So discipline played a big part. He's like, yes, we can have fun, but when it's time to work, I'm taking your head off, and then I'm gonna help you up, and then we're gonna go have a beer after.
Pat you off, yeah.
So that was respected on both levels. So our locker room was kind of split. Brett Favre, practical joker, great guy, but when it's time to work, let's get it done. Yeah, I give up a sack. He's like, don't worry, Gary. It's like my sister, and I'm like, dude, come on, get up. Like that hurts me. That I'm getting you hurt, Yep. So that sense of pride was great. But
was he one of the toughest guys you ever met?
He was gritty. He was gritty, a Mississippi kid that's like, you know what? Whatever, man. Like, you can see him on the same grit he played on football. He played with basketball. He played with racquetball. That's just who he was.
But that's usually the type
His
of person.
personality was what drove him.
Sort of like a Michael Jordan in a way where you have to win at every little thing.
Every little thing. Like,
Chest
I'm not going to let you
checkers.
beat me, and that's awesome. And that
quarters.
leadership is what drove our locker room, because we had elders that were working harder than the younger guys, when really the younger guys should have been working harder than the older guys.
So is it true that Reggie's son, because I saw that documentary, was a Dallas Cowboy fan? And
Yes.
So that was true? You were in that locker room with that?
Yes. That was funny to see that documentary, because there's a lot of things I didn't know about that, But yeah, the Green Bay and Reggie, like my welcoming party was, me going against a guy named Gilbert Brown, who at the time was like,
That's awesome, yeah.
350 pounds, running like a 4.9, 4.8 40, like something ridiculous. Like he ran track at Michigan State. You know what I mean? Like that's just insane.
It's unheard of, yeah.
But we bumped heads, because my name was Gary Brown, his name was Gilbert Brown. So who's gonna have the G Brown? Who's just gonna have Brown? And I made enemies before I made friends.
Okay.
So my first play, it was against him.
He also had the same license plate or something like that?
License plate, same car. He just hated me from high.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, who's this guy? He's stealing my identity.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So right away, he had to show me who's boss. But again, he didn't know I'm from Brentwood. You know what I
There you
mean?
go.
So he comes off the ball. The coach said, Gary, this is not practice for you. This is a tryout. This is your interview. As fast as you came here, we'll have you on a plane going back to Brentwood tomorrow. So when I tell you to go 100%, go 100%. All right, coach, I got no friends here. I don't know nobody.
Yep.
You got 100%. Unwritten rule, getting guys ready for game day.
And you got cut right before the season. Not cut, you got picked up by Green Bay,
Just
right?
before the season. So this is the first week of practice, which before
full
our first
season,
game.
yeah.
And I don't know the etiquette. I'm new.
And you're a rookie
I'm
at
fresh
that,
out of
so,
college. So I'm like, all right, I got no problem going 100%. I line up, said hut, I come off, I hit Gilbert in the mouth. He gets pissed. He wants to fight. Somebody tell his rookie how to practice. I got to play on Sunday. Coach said, great job, Brown. Go do it again. I'm like, damn, man. I don't even got a friend here. And guys are wanting to punch me in the head. Next play, I come off the ball, I hit him in the mouth again. Now he grabs my helmet, they're punching me, and I'm like, all right, whatever, let's go. Very next play, I move out to tackle, because now I always play guard and tackle. First play is against Reggie White. I'm the backside of a play, which is very easy. I just got to get in his way. I don't have to do too much. I just got to slow him down. The play's going the other way. There's no way he could catch it. Well, I'm trying out. Coach telling me to do 100%, so I don't do a little bit. I do extra. I step down, and then I crack back on him. I hit him in the mouth. He snaps his helmet. He says, all right.
He put his helmet on.
Now he snaps his buckles, and I'm like, oh, shit, here we go. Fourth play, as me being a Green Bay Packer, pass blocking.
Pass blocking now.
I've been practicing against Greg Lloyd, Kevin Green. I'm ready for whatever Reggie White got to give me. I got in my stance, and I dropped back, and Reggie did his club move. And when he put his arm underneath me.
And that was under your arm.
Under my arm. Like I'm there trying to put my hands on him like I'm trained to do. And he uses that against me with my momentum, and he grabs me and he lifts me up. I'm 315 pounds, probably like 9% body fat. I'm
a big boy.
I'm big boy, in shape, ready for whatever. He lifts me up, and I feel my toes come off the ground. I'm at his mercy. I just know he's going to bury me in the ground. Whether he makes the sack or not, I'm finished.
You're done, yeah.
And I'm just holding on for dear life. And he grabs me, and he says, stops and says, all right, rookie, now slow down. And I'm like, yes, sir, Mr. White. And then when I said that, the whole team started laughing. So it was that was like me doing the right thing, and they wanted to see if I punk out, if I was strong enough to give them what I had, and then being accepted all off for 3 plays.
Wow.
You know? And that was pretty cool because they were like, all right, you're a part of this team. It works. You're not afraid of anybody. And I'm like, cool. And then that work ethic, we weren't the best team in the league, but in a year we were the Super Bowl champions.
How crazy is that, right?
Again, that taught me that you don't have to be the best. Our best player wasn't even playing. Sterling Sharp was an animal, and he had the injury that Peyton Manning had.
Yeah, with the neck.
But at that time, there wasn't a surgery to fix that.
Wow.
And then years later, there was. You know what I mean?
Crazy.
So he ended with that injury.
Oh, Sterling, that was his end of his career?
That was his injury, and then he was a talker. You know what I mean? Like, he blasted out anything that he thought was negative about the team. Oh, we got to do this, we got to do that. Oh, he ain't doing this. Why you
really? I didn't know that.
So with him being on injured reserve, Holmgren was able to put a gag order on him.
Oh, wow.
So he wasn't allowed to talk to press. He wasn't allowed to voice his opinion, all of that.
Who was worse, him or Shannon?
Shannon by far, because Shannon says things that he thinks people want to hear about. Sterling says things that's from his heart. Whether you agree or disagree, this is how I feel, and I stand by it.
Because this is my opinion.
And you know,
rightfully so.
It was a strong opinion, but because you're right, don't mean you're supposed to say it. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And every situation is different. But, you know, going at it with 4 backup receivers, you know, I started tackle. Ken Ruckers was injured, so I started this season. I played the first 8-9 games. Those things all played into us being a Super Bowl team. And it was, people don't understand when I say it doesn't matter the injury. Next man up. Do your job to the best of your ability and what the team is expecting of you, and things will happen. You know what I mean? No matter what your starting quarterback goes down, then we got to make the next man up and coach. If you don't know how to coach this second-string quarterback into winning games, then you're not the man for the job. Don't blame him. Look at Daniel Jones, for example.
You guys playing fire.
Do you understand? Now, was it the Giants? Was it the locker room? But it wasn't Daniel Jones.
So true.
He has the talent.
How about Minnesota, too? He went to Minnesota last year, too, right?
Absolutely. And took them into the playoffs.
That's right.
The Giants have 4 starting quarterbacks playing better than their starting quarterback.
It's insane, right?
You know what I mean?
It's insane.
Geno Smith. He's balling. You know what I mean? Like, these guys, like, sometimes it's not the players. Sometimes it's the system.
No, you're right.
And I'm not knocking any coach because your system may work and it may be right, but it may not be right for the team that you have.
That's so true.
So now, are you going to adjust your system or are you going to adjust your team? But something has to be adjusted because they're not equaling up to wins.
So, again, this is so interesting. Me and you could talk all day.
Well, we do all the time. Sometimes we pick up the phone. I got a quick question for you, Richard, and we're on the phone an hour later.
Exactly.
You know?
It's so crazy.
And never talk about the topic we wanted to talk about.
So let's get that in for the last 10,
Let's get to
15
it.
minutes because I think it's so important. So what did football teach you to be such a good businessman and a caring man too? Because again, what you do is from your heart. And again, that's why I love you. You're fucking awesome. Excuse me, you asked me if we can curse.
appreciate
Obviously, we can curse. But you do things really to help people, right? And I've seen that for you. And you make not only everyone out there better, you make me a better person watching that because, again, I want to look up to you and I want to do the same thing because I'm, okay, Gary's doing that. I would do that too. And it's almost weird because you're not looking for that either. So where did you get that from? Is that growing up with the right parents? Is it football?
I think it's all of it.
Combination of all. Yeah.
I think it's all of it. I definitely credit my mom and dad because they're very Southern. I grew up right down the block in New York here, Brooklyn, New York. But my mother's from Emporia, Virginia. She's like the youngest of 11. My dad grew up in Mobile, Alabama. He's the youngest of like 13.
Wow.
And so that family aspect they always had. And what you do in the house and what you do out the house
Matters.
reflects back to them. And it's always stand up, be the best person you can. And my dad coaching the youth and watching me grow up in youth and watching me fail was like, did you do your best? As long as you did your best, it's okay. It's okay to lose as long as you put your best foot forward. Now, if you cheated yourself and you didn't work hard in practice and you took off plays and you didn't do this and you lost, then it's not okay. But if you lost, you lost.
Yeah,
And
if someone beat you, they beat you.
if they beat you, they beat you. Get better. You know,
Right.
There's no participation trophies. There is no second place trophies.
Right.
You either win or you lose. And I learned that with boxing and all of that stuff. But understanding the philosophy of the game, playing a game and knowing the philosophy of the game are two totally different things.
That's interesting, right?
You know, it's very interesting because when you know the philosophy, it makes you such a better person, a better player, a better teammate.
Sure.
And I learned that through growing pains, but that's what I learned. And then when football was over, converting that into life and having to deal with, one, my personal injuries, and then two, life after football, how do I jump into that? How do I portray that? And one thing led into the other, and it's like, it's just another sport. It's just another game. Put your best foot forward, do the little things to prepare, work hard, and be the best teammate you could possibly be, no matter what the job is. My first job coming out of the NFL, I couldn't get a job. People were like, "Oh, you're overqualified, but come in and sign, give me an autograph." And I'm like, "Dude, are you serious?"
Yeah.
Cop gave me a ticket one time. He's like, "Can I get your autograph?" I'm like, "Yeah, jerk, it's right there on the ticket." You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, you know, that was. But when you convert that into life, and whatever you want to do, whatever you can do, whatever you want to be, they say Gary Keller said it. You're 6-7 years away from anything you want to be in life. It's the truth.
It is.
You know, put the work in. No matter how immediate or how small you got to start, you got to put the work in. And you put the work in and you put yourself in the best position to be successful. It doesn't mean you're going to win a Super Bowl next year, but you put yourself in position to win one. And that starts with just being the best version of yourself and helping the people around you. And that's what I do.
That's awesome. So you got into, I guess, Paz brought you into Pink Tie? Is that how you?
I have my own nonprofit. Pink Tie is another nonprofit. So sometimes my nonprofit did benefit from them, whether it was networking, going to the events and stuff. But I was never.
So let's talk about yours.
So I was never a part of Pink Tie. So me and Michael Paz met years ago, in the nightclub business.
Okay.
And Rich Keefe.
That's right.
And
Paz and
they're
Rich were
best friends.
Yep.
And then I was doing security work and all that stuff for the owner and blah, blah, blah. But then the club closed and we went missing for a while. Then I had back surgery and I've been out of the mix. But since then, I was on the board with the Red Cross.
So can I stop you for 1 second
Yes,
before you
sir.
get into that? The back surgery was from football, or no?
I
Was that-
would, you know what? Just honestly speaking, probably.
Okay.
But can I say that? No. I never had a back injury playing football. I had knee injuries. I broke probably every one of my fingers at least once or twice, things of that nature. I left the game pretty healthy. When I left the game, I was still swinging a hammer, climbing ladders, doing security work, doing all kinds of stuff. Racquetball, basketball on a weekly basis. And it wasn't until I retired in 2002, 2003, my back didn't start giving me problems in 2009.
Wow.
Now, could it have been from football? Yes. But it also could have been me playing on the monkey bars as a kid. It could have been me having an accident. It could have been me fighting in a club. It could be anything in life. My surgeon does surgeries on a weekly basis, hundreds and thousands of people that he does. Very few are football players. You know what I mean? So
interesting.
if you're walking this earth, you have a back issue. Whether it's giving you a problem or not is another thing. Whether you recognize it or not, it's another thing. But teachers, people that are on their feet, people, construction workers, crossing guards, plumbers, people that bend over, you're gonna just walk in this earth. You're gonna have back issues.
That's so
Now,
interesting.
whether you address it or you don't address it, or how physical fit you are, or what have you, is up to you. Long story short, I had a back issue. I didn't know how bad or serious it was. I carried a 120-pound lady down a couple of steps. I pulled a muscle. Football mentality, rub some dirt on it, keep going. A couple of months later, it didn't get better or worse. I'm still in therapy, aggressive, small acupuncture, yoga, trying everything, not getting better or worse. And then one day I just started going downhill, and within maybe 3 weeks, I was paralyzed from waist down. So then they gave me emergency surgery. They were going to give me a lumbar fusion, but my neurologist didn't accept that. He was like, there's something major different going on than that. So they did a whole body scan, and they found that I had a herniated disc in my thoracic spine. They fixed that to stop the paralysis. I was told I would never walk again. I met you probably soon after I got back to walking with a walker and a cane. I was pretty good. I was moving. I thought I would shake the cane any day. I never quite shook it. I kind of got stalemated for years. 2 years ago, I had another problem. I didn't lift anybody. I just started going downhill. So then they gave me a lumbar fusion, which led to that not taken. And recently, a couple of months ago, I had another fusion. So this is my recovery. This is probably my first interview coming back, and I'm just getting back out there. So thank you, and I appreciate the opportunity and the platform to reintroduce myself. But yeah, so I'm getting back at it, and Michael Paz had some to do with that because he was at my bedside a couple times and kind of was like, you know what, we're both going through things, and I'm going to walk you through it. And I took my hat off to him for doing that.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
Yeah.
And it's funny, I do know this, and the girls hate when I talk about other people because you don't know who they are. So I don't know if Julie's not even listening to me right now. She's busy. But I always get yelled at. But he's an extraordinary person. First time I met you, he was talking so highly about you. Rich, you got to meet this guy. You got to meet this guy. And he was right. He was spot on.
He's a passionate dude, man. And you know something? That's why we have a friendship.
Right.
Because of his passion. Some people take his passion as misunderstood, and they think, but coming from the world that I come from,
You gotta appreciate it.
there's going to be people that aren't like you that mean well. They just may say it a different way than you would say it.
That's right.
And it's about me directing that passion and accepting him for who he is, and him accepting me for who I am.
100% right. Well put. So, so back to your charity. What's your charity? What's that all about? Before we.
So me being from Brentwood, who had a dream, and I can tell you a little bit about that really quick. I know we're getting short on time. In 6th grade, I had an awesome teacher, Mr. Vasillo, and we had a homework assignment. We had a classroom assignment about what we want to be when we grow up. I don't know if I ever told you the story.
I don't think so.
And it must have been on a Tuesday.
Oh, I think you did. But keep
Because
going.
on Monday, I saw Jim McMahon and the Chicago Bulls. They were playing Monday Night Football, and they were
Benjamin, yeah.
losing, and then he came back after halftime. They were getting their butt kicked at halftime, and after halftime, he came back, and he took his headband off, and he put it around his neck, and he put his helmet on. It was like, I mean business. And they orchestrated a hell of a comeback, and they came back to win the game.
Wow.
So the next day in the classroom, we had an assignment. What do you want to be when you grow up? And I was like, I want to play in the NFL. I want to be a Super Bowl star.
Oh, wow. That's
And
interesting.
It gets better. Forget all about this letter. Forget everything about elementary school, high school, whatever. This letter got mailed to me 20 years later. Like everybody, the letter got mailed out to them.
Oh, wow.
And I opened this thing up, and it brought me to tears. It was like, holy crap. Like,
That's
which
insane.
gave me the power of understanding dreams and writing things down. So writing it down subconsciously always stayed in my head. Now, whether my life, what course it took was, what drove me and what I can't say went back to that letter, but I know that to give it all I got because it's a part of my dream. So I started an organization, nonprofit, it's called Dream 68.
Yep.
And it's really about empowering kids to dream and letting them know that no matter how wild and crazy their dreams are, they can come true. But you got to put yourself in position for them to come true. You can't sit back and wait to get lucky. If this is your dream, then you got to work towards it every day. If this is your dream and your friend has a different dream, at some point in time, there's going to be a crossroad. Your friend's going to say, hey, let's go do this. And you're going to be like, you know what? I can't go do that. Because if this is my dream and I get caught doing that,
My dream is over.
my dream is over. So you can't do what everybody else does because, their dream is not your dream and your dream is not their dream. You got to protect what's yours and protect what your aim and your guidance and your goal. You got to protect that with all of your being and not try and teach that and instill that in kids as being a walk-in product, something that they could reach out and touch and talk to, and that comes from where they come from, no matter where it is. But which led me into mentoring, but it's so hard to mentor a kid when they're hungry or no clothes or, they're doing adult duties like babysitting their younger sibling till 3 a.m. because the mom or dad is working. So that led me into taking care of the Dream 68, then the mentoring part, then the feeding and clothing, and I do a lot with the shelters, and a lot of what I do is right here in our own backyard. And so when I open up for donations and for people that wants to come and support and wants to do things like that, I let them come and witness where their money's going or come and volunteer with me because that's the start of building a better community. Like, let's do it together.
We got a decent platform out there. At least I think we do. What would you tell our viewers how they can get behind this?
One, you can always go to my website, Gary Brown Dream 68, and send me a message and ask, tell me where you're at, what you have to offer, talent, services, food, money, clothing, whatever it may be. But my thing is, you want the world to be a better place. You want your kids to be better kids. You have to lead by example. You can't tell somebody to go clean their room and their room is messy. You have to lead by example, and that's all I try to do. I'm a big dude. I have a presence, and when I walk into the room, I don't have to lead with domination and talking crazy. I lead with passion and what can I do for you? Forget what you can do for me. What can I do for you? And use me. You know what I mean? If you could use me to help your services to help other people, it goes both ways. You know what I mean? I'm really big on building relationships, which is why I'm here.
Yep.
You build relationships, the business will come. Just build relationships and be a good person and lead by example.
That's awesome. Off camera, we'll talk about how I can get more involved in your world. I've always been in your world. I want to get more involved in it.
Absolutely.
And one of the other things you do is you work with the vets.
Absolutely. Oh, that's a wonderful. I do a lot of work through another company called Play for Your Freedom. And really what we do is we go
I remember you
into,
getting so freaking excited about this.
we go into VA hospitals and we get veterans dealing with PTSD or substance abuse or what have you that are locked up indoors. We get them out of the hospital, play flag football, cornhole, yoga. We do whatever we want to do. And then we break bread and we have conversations and we sign autographs. And I usually do it with a couple other players. It's awesome because it just gets their mind off of the problems that they're going through.
Wow.
And when I ask ask them how you doing, I genuinely mean it. I'm not there with a notepad writing down your
Sure.
response, and that means something. And the first time I did it, I was like, "What are we doing here? Like, we're playing football and sending them back to the hospital." But then I got calls from doctors and therapists, and they were like, "What did you do out there?" And I'm like, "What happened?" And they're like,
What'd I do?
guys that we've been trying to get to talk are talking. They're talking trash to each other. They're high-fiving. They're laughing. They're giggling. He was like, "We haven't seen a response like this with any program." And I'm like,
Wow.
"That's pretty cool." And it's just I believe it's just tapping into every kid's youth and their youth. You know what I mean? Getting their minds off the drama and the stigmas and the situations that they're in and reminding them to be a kid again. You got guys come out with button-up shirts and loafers on, and they're like taking their shirts off and diving for football
That's
after
awesome.
a half an hour. And I was like, "Yo, dude,
We'll
don't
play,
get
yeah.
hurt. You got to go back to, you know what I mean? Don't get me in
Don't get me-
trouble."
hey.
But it's just awesome to see them come in grumpy and smoking butts and leaving with a smile in their face and high-fiving each other. And it's just an amazing, amazing thing. And you know what? If that's I didn't serve, but if that's what I can do to give back to the people who did, as my way of saying thank you for doing what you do, for allowing me to do what I do,
Right.
then if
God
we
bless.
all just do our little bit,
So-
do a little bit.
This has been great. I got a couple more questions to ask. We're going to end it on a different note. Who's the toughest guy you played against?
Toughest, John Randall. And I always say that hands down,
Yeah.
because he's an enigma. He's just different. He's not. If you were big enough to play against me, I was too fast for you.
Okay.
If you were fast enough to play against me, I was too big for you because I was big and fast. But John Randall was this
Freak.
undersized, as height-wise, strong as an ox, fast, gritty, tough. He checked all the boxes. Like, he was just a handful. He was. When you come to work that day, you better pack a lunch. You know what I mean?
He was a
you
big
gotta
shit talker, too, right?
Oh my God, he talked trash about you, your mother, your sister, your college roommate. He'll know everything. And this is, mind you, this is how dedicated to the sport he was. This is pre-internet. This is pre-social media, I should say. You know what I mean? He would look up where you lived as a child, your address, your mother's name, your first girlfriend's name, like any information you could get from you. He'll call your college buddies. He would put time in after practice and have this stuff and be in the game. Like, yeah, I know XYZ. You thought you were the first one to date her. I dated her before her. Like, he would
Trash
just
talking.
say weird things that make you say, how do you know that? And once you say that, your mind's off the game. Your
got
mind's,
you.
you're like, or you're angry. Like, oh, I'm going to get this guy. And he just uses all of that against you.
That's awesome.
That's somebody that's well prepared. And again, a great player because of things like the Mamba mentality. And
right.
we talked about the greats of the game or some of the people I played with, like, but like the Greg Lloyds, the Kevin Greens, the Reggie Whites, the Brett Favres, the John Randalls. Those guys are I didn't realize and respect Mamba mentality
Until,
until after the game was over for
of
me.
course.
But I do apply it to today's life.
Sure.
But those guys were the first ones in the locker room. Like, they would have worked out, watched film, all before the team even got in. And I'm trying to get an egg sandwich and slide into practice, 10 minutes early just so I can say I'm there.
Sure.
And these guys already worked out and did everything to work out and do it all again to stay after to watch more film. That's Mamba mentality.
That's dedicated.
Preparation, being prepared. You know what? We may lose, but it's not going to be because I didn't put my best foot forward.
That's awesome.
Now, I did my job to the best of my ability, but that's where it stopped. These guys did their job and then some.
That's awesome. Great. Well put. Growing up, favorite team?
Giants.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
I don't
I'm
know
a
why.
Giant fan. They were the winners.
of course.
When you're young, you tend to lean towards the winners
Sure.
and the people that play, that hold up that trophy. I remember going to Busy Bee Mall, buying my first Giants jacket.
There you go.
I was like, oh my God.
Look how good I look.
I was like, this is amazing. I was a fan for life.
And then if you didn't play football, what sport would have it been?
I like basketball better than football. I just happen to be better at football.
Okay.
You know, I was a little chubby kid that wants to be a point guard that's never going to make it.
Sure.
I was too short, too slow, and all of that. Too slow and short for basketball, but
Just
fast enough for football. Ironic. But I love all sports, man. I got a quick story. After football, I was big as hell, 340 pounds. But I used to go to LA Fitness and over at Smith Haven Mall
Sure.
and go play racquetball. And these guys would be with their elbow pads, their knee pads, their helmets, and they're like, "Oh, you can't play this game." I'm like, "Okay." And I was going there and win, and I would hold the court for hours.
Is that right?
And guys would line up. No, I don't want to play on that court. I'm waiting to play this guy. I can't see how this
Monsters.
fat dude is kicking my butt. And little did they know.
Yeah,
You know,
nobody
I
knows.
was just, my agility was my
An athlete.
key to everything. Yeah, so it was pretty cool.
And then to end it, would you do anything over again if you had the chance?
You know, I just thought about that the other day, and it said somebody was being interviewed, and they said, what would you tell your younger self or your high school self or teenage self? And yeah, I would do something over again. I would prepare more. I would put more effort into the small things. My God-given talent took me a long way. Don't get me wrong, I worked my butt off, but I could have worked harder. Like I could. You ever do something and say, I wish I could do that again? The only thing is there are no do-overs, you know, and that's what sucks. Like, there's
I
a
love
right
Kobe.
way and a wrong way. There's no close enough, there's no good enough. And I can look back at my life and see where a lot of times I was like, that's good enough. And
It wasn't.
honestly, it's not. It's not acceptable.
Great answer.
And not to where I want to be.
Great answer. And I'll end it with this too, because again, the whole Kobe thing, I think that was the best answer that he ever gave. Why I'm gonna prepare because you don't want to, when it's all over, you don't want to say I didn't prepare.
Yeah. And
Great answer.
there's so many stories about that with him. And you can look online every day. There's somebody with a new interview about Kobe and how he made them feel less of a man because of his work ethic and because of what he did and how he did it and wasn't afraid of anybody. And I'm like, you know what? I cherish that. Like, I wish I would have knew more about it when he was alive. But sometimes your legacy doesn't take its course until when it's time to take its course.
Right. Well, we'll end it with that. Gary, I love you, man. We got to have you back. This was great. Went by
I
too
can come and
fast.
talk. I'm right around the corner. I can come and talk this all day, man.
We're definitely going to have you
appreciate
back in a couple of weeks, man, because we got to
you.
finish this. We got a lot more to talk about.
I would love to. We got so many things.
And I'll call you
appreciate
afterwards. You're the best,
Absolutely.
brother.
Thank you,
Love
boss.
man. You're right.